What is this face? What is that facial expression? Why does God hate me and punish me in the most cruel of ways? In any case, Exoborne. I remember watching the Exoborne trailer when it came out, and I said, "Yeah, looks pretty okay. Looks pretty decent. It doesn't look amazing per se, but it does look like something that does have a specific niche type of potential. You know, Tarkov-esque, things like that. A little bit of Fortnite maybe mixed into, just a little bit, you know? Didn't seem bad. Well, at the bare minimum, I could not find any super major glaring problems to criticize it over. It just looked kind of okay. It didn't look exactly in the middle because many things that is average nowadays pretty much is always too safe, boring, and dull, and no one really likes it. But, well, Exoborne did have potential. So, let's see if it's actually good.
Exoborne is a tactical extraction shooter coming from Sharkmob, the same team that made Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt a few years back. But
that game is not terrible, but it's by no means good. I did not know that they made the same thing, but yes, this probably explains the mediocrity feelings that I currently have towards this. Because, again, this game did not catch on, but it wasn't horrible. You know, it was kind of playable, but not really good.
Hunt a few years back, but Exoborne aims to bring their own unique twist to the extraction formula by having exosuits that allow you to have increased movement and mobility in matches, and even dynamic weather and things like these terrifying fire tornadoes.
Yeah, the fire tornadoes and the weather events are going to be a massive deal for this.
That spawn throughout the map and can greatly increase the dynamism of play. And naturally, I found this quite intriguing, so when the devs reached out and asked if
dynamism is not a real word, I think. I'm not sure. I know what he means, but I'm not sure if that's a real word.
I would like to try the game in a playtest, I agreed as part of this sponsored video, so long as I was allowed to say whatever I want to say, positive or negative. And they agreed. In
double thumbs up, Lukey Poo. You are not a shill. I love how, by the way, I never need to defend myself of being a shill. And no one else does, except the channels who claim they are not shills. But they constantly need to defend themselves of that because everyone calls them shills. I wonder how this happens, but funny.
Writing in black and white, which I think is a testament to how confident they are with what they have, but I think it also shows that they're willing to receive feedback. In fact, they apparently had a playtest earlier this year in the early spring, and they received so much feedback from that that they revamped their entire inventory menu system and all sorts of stuff based on player feedback. So they're actually looking for feedback and trying to make the best game possible, which is refreshing. But in this video, I'm going to talk about my experience with the game. I've put about 10 hours into it. I even played in some of the high stakes maps that require bigger buy-ins in order to get into, which led to some interesting experiences. And I tried playing on teams and solo as well.
What is it? What is a buy-in? I'm confused.
I experimented playing primarily against other players and also engaging more with the PvE elements, and I have a lot of thoughts on all this, so let's just get into it. And of course, if you like what you see, you can go to the link in the description box below to their Steam page, wishlist the game. Exoborne also has an upcoming playtest that is slated for launch on September 16th, and it will run for 3 weeks all the way through October 7th. If you like some of what you see, or if you're like, ooh, I could investigate this, you can just try it yourself to find out. But I'll explain my thoughts on it starting now. So 2025 has really turned into the year of extraction shooters. There's been a bunch of them that have been announced, have had play tests, and players have been checking out. And that means that there's a lot.
Last year was also the year of the extraction shooter, by the way, and so was the year before that. Extraction shooters are just not dying out.
Of ideas and feedback going back and forth across all of these games. Some of them do one thing really well, and maybe they do something else poorly, and then the other one makes up for that difference. And everybody ultimately is trying to make the best game they can, but there's also an element of fierce competition at play. I mean, you really have to have some unique aspects of your game to stand out. Otherwise, you just kind of become another one in the crowd. And I can say confidently that—
True, and one of the things that I will say instantaneously, the character design is not talking to me, okay? When first I saw this, it didn't seem that bad, but now, I don't know. Maybe it's maybe my opinion has evolved, but I don't like this. I'm not a fan of this. It looks kind of bulky, but useless bulky. If I could label it anything.
That Exoborne does have some really unique elements. The sheer amount of verticality, the size and scale of the map, even in like the low level games, is crazy. And I honestly am very impressed with just how much content and stuff is here for a game that hasn't been released yet. I've seen some other extraction shooters in recent memory that needed a lot of work before launch, but honestly what I've seen here is a pretty complete package. There's a lot going on. To give you a quick rundown, each player will be equipped with an exo-suit. These give you certain abilities based on your play style. Maybe you like to play stealthily and you like cloak abilities, or you want abilities focused primarily on fast movement, sprinting, and jumping, and that type of thing. These are called exo rigs, and they can be up
Oh, the movement's a little bit janky. Look.
on fast movement, sprinting, and jumping.
Yeah, that turn. Oof, man, I felt that. That did not feel good.
And that type of thing. These are called exo rigs, and they can be upgraded separately as you go from match to match to match. This already means that there's long-term progression and reason to keep grinding out more difficult runs, because you can upgrade your exo-suit, which carries with you from run
Okay, listen, we need to ditch the fucking Call of Duty bullshit gliding parachute mechanics, okay? They're gay, and they're dumb, and they're stupid, and no one likes them. It's the dumbest, most annoying thing ever. I hate it so much. Maybe this is a me problem. Most things are an I problem. But still, look at this.
Runs, because you can upgrade your exosuit, which
Oh, I hate it so much. Like, don't we have other types of gliding?
carries with you from run to run. It's not going to be isolated or something that you can lose or something. It's not like when you die, you lose the exo rig. There's also a parachute that you can glide around with that adds to the level of mobility that you're able to achieve.
Also, the parachute looks ass. It's so small.
This can even be utilized with certain gusts of wind, for example. If the weather kicks up, which is something we'll talk about in a second, you may be gliding just normally from a high vantage point, but when the gust hits you,
a lot of popping.
It'll actually push you higher up into the air so that you can pivot and get away a different direction if you felt so inclined, which is kind of cool. There's also a grapple hook that everybody gets access to, which also allows for you to quickly pivot around enemies. It causes gunfights to get really, really hectic when everybody starts zipping around each other trying to flank or get to a better position or get to the high ground. But from match to match, you're going to basically be loading into the map. You're going to go around, collect a bunch of gear and materials, crafting materials, weapons, armor pieces, healing items, whatever you need.
I mean, I can definitely tell that this is a work in progress.
And then once you are satisfied with the haul, you head to an extraction point and try to escape with all of your loot. Again, it's an extraction game. It follows that basic formula, but they do have a fair number of unique elements from match to match, which keeps it engaging. The primary element, of course, being mobility and agility within the map. As you can see in this point right here, my teammate has just gotten down, but I can see another player over there. So I quickly drop my parachute, I zip with my grapple hook around the corner, and I do the double jump that my exo rig allows for me to do, open the parachute and try to swing around the corner. It's this type of quick positioning that the game is kind of built around. Everybody has access to it in one way or another, which means that every fight can be very, very crazy. This is not one of those extraction shooters where you're gonna end up with people just like camping in a corner. That just doesn't work because people are able to flank you and jump up on you so quickly. So it encourages everybody to move.
When was the last time we had an extraction shooter where people actually were camping constantly? I don't even remember.
Very, very fast. And that adds an energy that a lot of extraction shooters don't have. A lot of them tend to be very slow, and people are crawling and crouching around cover very cautiously. It's not how I experienced this game. Most people are running around frantically trying to find stuff and take out other players before they get jumped. I also have to really hand it to them. The progression is way further along than any of these other extraction shooters I've tried recently that are set to come out soon.
There's no way this comes even close to Tarkov. Let's be real. Every single company that's making an extraction shooter is currently thinking one thing: how do we beat Tarkov? And what currently I'm seeing is not beating Tarkov. In fact, it's not even coming close.
They have like not just full lip sync motion captured cutscenes for some of these, but they also have missions tied to all of these different weapons and upgrades and crafting items and live events and challenges for each one of them. It's pretty well.
Finally, an accurate depiction of a woman in gaming. She needs an exo-suit to lift up whatever this is.
Realized. And again, there's a lot more here than I was ready for, given that it was a like
16th century iPad.
Closed invite only beta. I was thoroughly impressed with how much stuff was going on here. And there's a bunch of other stuff that I haven't really mentioned yet, like vehicles, for example. There's a pretty robust crafting system in here as well. There's also a pretty robust attachments system for the guns in the game. So you can add scopes, magazines, compensators, stabilizers, whatever you need to do. And these can either be purchased or they can be bought within the in-game marketplace as well. I may not like a particular scope, in which case I can list it on the marketplace for $50,000 effectively, and somebody else can come in and either buy it, or maybe they list theirs for 40,000, and then the next person lists theirs for 35, and then everybody kind of agrees that 35,000 is the fair price, so that's what it starts going for, and the market just kind of self-adjusts and corrects based on supply and demand. It works.
Perfect. What? Yes! Yes, that's how auction houses work, look. I think he was going somewhere with that, but yes?
Works quite well, honestly. And again, these are things that a lot of other extraction shooters that even are out today don't have, so to see them present already in a beta is nice to see, because it's those smaller quality of life additions that really can take one of these games up and above the level it needs for success. Like, if you can have some of those quality of life features that make a serious committed player happy, it makes it much easier to get more of those players, you know what I mean? But from game to game, I honestly had a really good time. I started playing pretty hectically, but later as I got into more mature match.
Okay, so this is the problem. This is a problem with a lot of these early preview things and stuff like that. This is why we don't believe them. I actually believe Lukey did have a good time, okay? He got wined and dined. He got paid, okay? He had a good time. I believe that. But are you having a good time also that 10 hours in? Currently, the biggest problem in gaming is not actually games being woke. We can avoid that pretty easily by just, boycotting them and letting them, die off. But the biggest problem that gaming has, I definitely feel that this is 100% true, and it's kind of dumb how true this is the fact that it's just the sweats are too annoying, okay? Most people don't want to be sweats. Most people are average, and being average is being pretty bad nowadays in a lot of things. Like, the scale's going up, boys. Do not stick on mediocrity. It's gonna bite you someday. And these games are fun until the point where the good players start owning you too much, okay? Everyone's having fun while, someone's killing someone and, things happening. But the moment you start losing too much, what then? What then? You wasted your time, you didn't get any loot, you didn't get this, you didn't get that. Can this game survive 24 hours of playtime? That's the question. Or are people gonna get pissed off then? I bet this is gonna be fun to download and play 5 matches on. Is it worth paying money? I don't know. I actually don't know if this thing's gonna cost money. But since it's an extraction shooter, it's probably gonna cost money, huh?
And more high-level matches, I found myself playing much more tactically, using the movement certainly, but choosing my engagements much more cautiously, choosing when to engage more tactically. And you can see sometimes I made better choices than others, but I had a pretty good run for a while, I'll tell you what. Ultimately though, it's still a tactical shooter. Like, if you get outplayed, you get outplayed. I tried to push on this guy. He was the last member of his team, I thought, and I jumped up and I start missing my shots, and I'm just whiffing like crazy. He jumps down.
Wait. These are real people? All of this footage is with real people? I assumed they were bots. What kind of people are they getting in this?
I'm out of ammo. I swap weapons. I try to jump up on him, and I have a melee ability here, but you can see it just wasn't enough, and he took me out, and I lost all my stuff, and it was a lot. That one hurt a good bit. I'll tell you what, that one hurt. Yeah, I lost $84,000 worth of stuff in that match. That one hurt. But that brings me to the topic of extraction shooters in general. These games always have a bit of a struggle when it comes to retaining more casual players, because for every great moment where you kill a team and you get a bunch of gear and you
no, these are NPCs, that's for sure.
Super, super rich and you have all this high level stuff.
But the people who shot at him previously, were those NPCs? Or were they people? Because man, if those are people, that's sad.
For every time that happens, somebody else is having the worst game of their night. Or week, maybe. Maybe they grinded for days and days and days to get all this stuff, and then in that moment, you bested them, but they lost all of it. Listen, extraction shooters have always had a difficulty with balancing one key fact of this genre of game, which is that in order for you to have that amazing moment where you are 1v3,
someone else needs to
feel
suffer
like a god, and you take all their stuff, and you are so rich and so happy. In order for you to get that moment of pure dopamine, that team of 3 has to have the worst game of their night, or maybe even week if they got beat 1v3 and lost all of.
This is true. I thought games are gonna start switching, actually going to the route of, hey, there's NPCs that you can kill, and you can, save stuff like that. Because, okay, getting killed by a person is one thing, but well, you're doing and accomplishing things, you're progressing, even if it's against NPCs, that's still fun. That still should work for most people. So you can't do that here, or how does it work?
Their high level stuff. In order for you to have an amazing moment, somebody else has to have a terrible moment. And balancing these games is always about making sure that the bad moments don't necessarily feel terrible, but the good moments feel exceptional and amazing, and it makes all of the bad moments worth it. That way it's special. When you extract, it's not expected, it's an accomplishment, right? And Exoborne does a pretty good job of it, though I will confess I've had plenty of moments of devastation.
Yeah, is that a person?
And losing, as you just saw.
Eliminate Bodkin Heavy. No, that's NPC.
Lots of good stuff, because I thought that I was better than I actually was. But I think the key...
Yeah, those are NPCs. I can't tell who are players and who are not.
Is that these games need to make sure, for one, that they're robust and polished enough that it is literally just a matter of skill. If you get into those engagements, and in that 1v1 at the very end of that encounter, I lost, I feel like that was fair. Not that some frames dropped or the server stuttered or something. It has to feel genuinely fair. You got me. When the stakes are this high and dying means I lose maybe even like 3, 4, 5, 6 matches worth of goods that I collected, it has to feel fair. It has to feel so tight and polished. Otherwise, it just feels unfun. It's just miserable, right?
Nah, people are going to be still pissed off that they lost everything. There's no way to avoid it. Well, there has... Okay, so maybe this game doesn't have it, or maybe it's Luke's special, then he's extra autistic. I can't honestly tell at this point, but typically these games have something where you don't lose everything. Otherwise, again, people would rage quit way too often. There's ways to gain progression, even though if you don't win a match, even if you don't get your loot out safe. There must be something like that. There's no way they made a game without this. Oh my lord, there's no way. I think it feels like we're missing the most important part about this video game, everything.
And thankfully with the gunplay and a lot of this stuff, they have polished a lot of it. They still have a little ways to go in my experience during this playtest. There was a little bit of server instability. There were some moments where things might have hitched a little bit. And if I were in gunfights at that time, I'm sure I would have been very, very frustrated. And in fact, in this gunfight right here, you see when I push him, you'll see a little stutter right as I come down right there. And I don't think, honestly, like if it hadn't dropped frames, I would have magically beat him. I think he just had the jump on me. He had a better weapon equipped for the engagement we were going into. I had swapped to a DMR and he was with like a submachine gun. I was just hoping to punch him to death, basically. I was going to lose that engagement, but because it stuttered, it feels bad. So my one primary point of feedback is just before launch, all of these stutters and things have got to be polished and refined, because nothing will feel worse than having a bunch of gear that I've grinded for hours and losing it because of what feels like a server stutter. Even
again, do you lose everything? I'm so confused.
if it wasn't, and even if
There's no way you lose everything.
actually just suck, if it feels like it was the server's fault or the game's fault or some other issue's fault other than me messing up, that's going to make me upset and it's going to make me want to quit, right? So they just have to keep polishing. And thankfully, it seems like they really, really are. In fact, I got word they're doing the playtest, which is September 16th. And that means that you're going to be able to try it yourself. And they keep polishing, they keep making it better and better. And so hopefully by the time we hit launch, none of these issues persist, but that's definitely something that needs to continue to be worked on. The other thing they're doing to help mediate some of these frustrations is by adding
So is that a play?
things such as
No.
safe caches. If you look in the bottom left of the screen, you can see.
Oh, there we go. Jesus fuck. No, seriously, there's people who watch these reviews, and you hear Luke, Mr. Matty, and these people yap for 20 minutes straight about something, how it feels bad in the game, and then there's a solution to it in the game that makes it kind of fine, okay? It doesn't fully alleviate it, obviously, but at least it makes it reasonable. And here it is. They can't lose boxes. Bro! I feel like the last 7 minutes of this video have been a dud. My God. Anyway, well, that was Luke Steffens, 10 out of 10. This game could be pretty good. There's gonna be environmental stuff. There should be like also. I remember the last time I checked it, the world was kind of like collapsing and stuff like that. So where is that? I don't know. Well, in any case, like, you know, just a little bit more apocalyptic. Nice. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye. That was Luke Steffens.